Let's talk about the difference between infills and rebalancing. So when do you decide between an infill and a rebalance? Well, always since nails started, we always called it a fill. We just called it a fill. But now with the introduction of builder in a bottle, where people are doing an overlay, which is essentially what all fake nails are really, they have sort of defined the difference between rebalance and infill. A rebalance is when you are readjusting the apex. An infill would be that you're just filling the back area that's just a small grow out. The reason why I'm talking about this video is because I saw a post where somebody said they were trying to define the difference, and they were saying that it was just like a 2 to 3 weeks for a infill and maybe 3 to 4 weeks for a rebalance. But I found that interesting because everybody's nails grow at a different rate. So I've got a guest here today. Welcome, Steve.
Howdy.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Now, when did we do these nails? Was it about 2 weeks ago? 10 days?
Just over 2 weeks,
okay,
I think. Yeah.
Just over 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's take a look at Steve's individual growth. So we can even see that we've got different growths on different fingers, and that is actually quite normal. So if this was on Grant, our friend, he would not be able to go, well, he barely could go, I think, 2 and a bit weeks because his nail bed is so tiny and it would have grown halfway off. And he needs a full rebalance. But with Steve here, his haven't grown, well, they've grown the same amount maybe, but he has a much longer nail plate. So he's got much more nail estate for the nail to sit on. So he doesn't have as much need for that fill. If this happened for Grant's nails being much tinier, he would really need a fill. But Steve here is like, I could get a fill, or I could even wait another week or two, right? So this, for some, would be considered just an infill because you're not having to rebalance the whole thing. But in my opinion, you really want to rebalance every single time. I would not just infill something. Now you could, if a client came in after maybe a week or 7 to 10 days, you could infill it. But that's not really a full fill. You're just filling the back area a tiny little bit. And with, like I say, the introduction of overlays, the feel is that you're putting the product in on a natural nail and you're not giving it too much. But the longer that natural grows, the more apex you need. But that's a whole other video. So in this case, I would have a consult with the client and see what look they wanted next. So if they said, I just want a quick fill. I just want to get this off, the color. I'm sick of the design, which I am now. I want to change it out. And that'll be our next video. But I'm sick of the design and I want to just get rid of it. This is all done with just gel polish and watercolor inks. We can just file it all off and then backfill it. But I would definitely rebalance it no matter what. So I don't really do infills as what they're meant to be. I would always do a rebalance. So even if it had a tiny little nail or tiny little grow out, I would always do a rebalance because I do want the height to come right back to the cuticle. To me, the apex starts at the cuticle and goes up, and then it slopes down. So this has grown here. This used to be located here, and now it's out to here. Doesn't matter, even if it's just a little over 2 weeks, which is what Steve's gone. We still need to rebalance that nail. So I wouldn't bother so much with infills. I would always rebalance because I always want to make sure that that apex is always at the precise location because it's always growing out. When I put this apex, it was back here 2 weeks and a bit ago, and now the apex is up here. So this is off balance, especially with the nails are a bit long. We did do them on the bit of a long side, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
You managed really, really well. They look a little rough, especially when I'm pushing back some nail estate here. I can really see that they need a fill. That's another thing. You could take a customer in and say, oh, that hasn't grown out too much. We'll just do an infill. So you're charging them for an infill, which is going to be less. And then by the time you get in there and start filing everything away, you're going to find, whoa, there's a lot of nail estate. I'm actually really doing a rebalance. So now you got to charge them for a rebalance. So I would just do everything as a rebalance just to be safe and make sure that you are replacing the apex exactly where it should be. So we have fun doing this design, but I want to get it off. Do you want to get rid of it?
Let's go wild.
Okay, that's the next video. Thanks for joining us, and maybe I'll catch you guys in this video.